Good morning, cadets. Yesterday we have concluded the several thermodynamic processes: isothermal, adiabatic, isochoric, and isobaric process, and finally we concluded with cyclic process. Okay. Now we will learn about heat engine. Heat engine is a device wherein the working substance is made to undergo a cyclic process which results into conversion of heat energy into mechanical energy. Heat engine is a device in which the working substance or a system is made to undergo a cyclic process. A system is made to undergo cyclic process that results into conversion of heat energy into mechanical energy. So we will write what is heat engine. It's a device which converts heat into work, heat energy into mechanical work. So it's a simple way of defining what is heat engine. A device which converts heat energy into mechanical energy, that is work. In more details, we can say that heat engine is a device in which the system, a gaseous system or a system, thermodynamic system, is made to undergo a cyclic process. That results in conversion of heat into work. That is heat energy into mechanical energy. So it essentially consists of four important parts. Mainly the system. The system consists of working substance. This is the system which takes the heat from a reservoir at high temperature, hot reservoir, at high temperature P1. It takes heat Q1 from the hot reservoir and it does work on the environment and releases some heat to a cold reservoir at a low temperature T2. This is called cold sink. This is called hot source. This is a schematic representation. This is actually system which undergoes cyclic process. Schematic representation of heat engine. So there are basically four steps we need to understand from here. The working substance. The working substance is mainly fuel. vapor of a fuel mixed with air. Vapor of a fuel mixed with air, like petrol vapor mixed with air in case of petrol engine, and in case of diesel engine it is diesel, or in case of gasoline engine it is gasoline mixed with water vapor. So that becomes the working substance. So the working substance is made to undergo cyclic process, and that results in the conversion of heat into work. So how is it made? So the working substance take the heat from a hot source, the external reservoir from a hot source. It takes the heat, and this heat is converted into work in the chamber. It is actually a cylinder fitted with a piston. So a cylinder fitted with a piston is made to undergo a change in heat. That is, the heat is converted into work on pushing the piston. When the piston starts moving, the piston rod is connected to the wheels. The wheels start moving. That's how heat energy is converted into work. So part of this heat is converted into work. Remaining heat is released to the external reservoir, that is external surroundings, which is at lower temperature heat. So the hot reservoir is actually the source of heat, and the cold reservoir is the surrounding environment where the remaining heat is released. And this is the important thing, that is W. W is the mechanical work that is done. When the piston starts moving, when the piston is moving, when the piston starts moving, the piston rod is connected to the wheels start moving. As a result, heat energy is converted into mechanical work. That is W. This is important for us. So in all heat engines, let it be two-wheelers or four-wheelers, the heat engines are basically of two types: external combustion engine and internal combustion engine. External combustion engine is the steam engine, wherein the combustion takes place externally to produce the steam. The heat of this steam becomes the important source. The steam itself becomes the working substance for steam engine. The steam itself is the working substance for steam engine, and when this steam is made to rush through a cylinder fitted with a movable piston, the piston is pushed forward, the piston is pushed apart. As a result, the piston rod connected to the wheels starts moving. Okay, and remaining heat which is left over is released to the external surroundings. So this is how a heat engine works. Now we will write these step by step to understand the mechanism of working of a heat engine, and then we will discuss what is the meaning of efficiency of a heat engine. So four parts are there. So first part is working substance. So to give example for working substance, fuel vapor, like petrol vapor mixed with air. This is in petrol engine, or this is in petrol engine. Then next, gasoline or diesel in diesel engine. Steam in steam engine. So this becomes the working substance. Altogether we call it as a system. Mechanism is same, whether it is a petrol engine or diesel engine or steam engine, the mechanism is same. So we in general we call it as working substance, right? Second thing is hot reservoir, external hot reservoir. At high temperature, T1, at high temperature T1. So this working substance takes the heat Q1, takes the heat Q1 from the hot reservoir. Absorbs heat hot reservoir at high temperature. This absorbs heat. This heat is Q1. Absorb heat Q1 from the hot reservoir at high temperature T1. The third one is the external cold reservoir. At low temperature. The cold reservoir is nothing but the surroundings. The surroundings. Okay. The external cold reservoir surroundings. The exhaust gas is released to the surroundings. The exhaust gas consists of the remaining heat. Okay. That's how one can understand the external cold reservoir at low temperature T2. Working substance releases heat Q2, releases heat Q2 to the surroundings, that is to the cold reservoir at low temperature T2. Remember, here temperature T1 is very much greater than temperature T2. The fourth one is the very important mechanical work done. The working substance does the work done by the system in a cycle. Work done denoted by W. Work done by the system in a cyclic process. So it is a continuous process. The working substance, like petrol mixed with air in case of petrol engine, petrol vapor mixed with air, when it undergoes combustion, that takes the heat from that combustion, and it does work on pushing the piston. So the piston, when it starts moving, work is done on the piston. That is what we call as W. And the remaining part Q1 minus W is the heat, that is leftover heat. That leftover heat is released to the surroundings, that is called as cold reservoir at low temperature in the form of exhaust gases. Right? So this work done by the system in a cyclic process. And once the piston, again, due to the movement of the wheels, the piston is pushed back again to the initial position. Again the petrol vapor mixed with air enters into the combustion chamber, where it undergoes combustion using a spark plug, using a spark. The spark produces combustion of the petrol vapor mixed with air. Combustion, when it takes place, it releases tremendous amount of heat Q1, and using that heat Q1, the piston starts moving. When the piston starts moving, the piston rod is connected to the wheels. The help of the piston rod, the wheels start moving. When the wheels start moving, the piston is again pushed back. When the piston is pushed back, the exhaust gas is released from the exhaust valve. So that's how the petrol engine works. In the same way, the mechanism can be studied even for diesel engine as well as steam engine. So here the work done is calculated from this particular schematic representation. If you look at the schematic representation, we can write Q1 is the total amount of heat taken from the source. Then Q1 is equal to, you see, Q2 plus W, where Q2 is the heat released to the surrounding and W is the useful mechanical work done. Therefore, this is the main equation for heat engine. So from this we can write mechanical work is equal to Q1 minus Q2. The cyclic process is the one wherein the working substance is returning back to its initial thermodynamic state with the initial thermodynamic state variables P1, V1, T1. If you remember yesterday's video, previous video, we have drawn a cyclic process with the help of a PV diagram. P1, V1, T1 is finally reaching to P2, V2, T2. Again it is taken back to P1, V1, T1. So there are 4 steps involved. First one is isothermal expansion, second one is adiabatic expansion, third one is isothermal compression, and fourth one is adiabatic compression. So 2 isothermal expansions and 2 adiabatic, 2 isothermal processes and 2 adiabatic processes are involved in a cyclic process. So it is returning back to its initial states. So this process repeats, continues. It goes on and on as long as the engine is in moving, as long as the engine is in motion, that is the vehicle is in motion. Okay, that is the working of the heat engine. It is a device which converts the heat energy into mechanical energy, heat energy into mechanical work. Now we will discuss what is the meaning of efficiency of a heat engine. Efficiency means, we can look at it, we are thinking of how much of useful work is done. We are mainly thinking about how much of useful work that is done out of a given fuel. Okay, so it is the useful output work done divided by amount of heat that is taken from the hot reservoir. So that's how we define the efficiency. Efficiency is the ratio of useful work output to the amount of heat absorbed from the hot source. W by Q1 gives us the efficiency of a heat engine. So efficiency of heat engine is denoted by notation eta. Eta is equal to W by Q1. Useful work done by the working substance in one complete cycle to the amount of heat absorbed by the working substance in one complete cycle. So heat engine efficiency is defined as ratio of work output in one cycle, ratio of work output in one cycle to the heat absorbed in one cycle. This is how we define efficiency of a heat engine. So if you remember, yesterday we have drawn PV diagram for cycling process. P versus V. So we have drawn isothermal expansion followed by adiabatic expansion, then the isothermal compression, and then adiabatic compression. So this is called cycling process. P1, V1, T1 is taken to final values P2, V2, T2. Again they are taken back to P1, V1, T1. Isothermal expansion, adiabatic expansion, isothermal compression, and then finally adiabatic compression. So this is called one complete cycle. So this cyclic process repeats, it goes on and on, right? So how much is the work output in one complete cycle divided by total amount of heat absorbed in one complete cycle is called as the efficiency of heat engine. This can be understood more clearly by substituting the value of work done. From the previous, we know that Q1 is equal to W plus Q2. So from this we can write what is W. W is equal to Q1 minus Q2. W is equal to Q1 minus Q2. If you substitute this in the whole equation of efficiency, then efficiency becomes Q1 minus Q2 divided by Q1. Q1 minus Q2 divided by Q1. So on simplification we get 1 minus Q2 by Q1. So this becomes efficiency of a heat engine. Efficiency of a heat engine. You see, from this equation, the efficiency will be very high if the heat taken from the source is less compared to the amount of work done. It is a ratio of work done to the heat absorbed. It will be always less than 1. It will be always less than 1. Why is it so? See here, amount of work done is Q1 minus Q2. So Q1 minus Q2 will be always less than Q1. Therefore, efficiency of any heat engine is always less than 1. It means efficiency of heat engine is always less than 100%. If we make this Q2 equal to 0, if Q2 is 0, suppose the heat released to the surroundings is 0, means if entire heat absorbed, Q1 is completely converted into work done. If entire heat absorbed by the working substance is completely converted into work done, then the efficiency becomes 1. That is, efficiency becomes 100%. That is possible if and only if heat released to the surroundings is 0. So the first law of thermodynamics says that it is possible to have an efficiency of 100%. So first law of thermodynamics permits us to have a heat engine which can have 100% efficiency. But we will come to know that nature doesn't allow it at all. Some amount of heat is always spent, it is always released to the surroundings. It is not possible to have a heat engine to possess 100% efficiency. That is what we are learning it as second law of thermodynamics. No heat engine in the nature is possible whose efficiency is 100%. This is called as second law of thermodynamics. there is no heat engine in the nature which has 100% of efficiency, which can convert the entire heat absorbed into mechanical work. That is the meaning. Some amount of heat is always released to the surroundings. So if some amount of heat Q2 is released to the surroundings, then eta will be always less than 1. If eta is less than 1, then the efficiency will be always less than 1. Only possibility is that by proper modification of the engines, one can achieve better value of efficiency. Efficiency can be improved. That is the meaning of this meaning of efficiency of heat engine. So if Q2 is equal to 0, then if Q2 is equal to 0, then efficiency eta becomes equal to 1. That is, eta will have 100% efficiency. So this is not possible at all. So we can say at the most it is an ideal engine. Ideal heat engine is the one which has 100% efficiency, which is not possible in the nature. Okay, so that is what we are learning as the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, now we will learn the reverse engine, that is what we call as refrigerator. You all know what is a refrigerator, which is used to keep the food stuff at cold temperature, right? It is actually the reverse of heat engine. The space where we want to keep the food stuff must be maintained at a lower temperature. So the heat is completely pumped out of it from the lower temperature to the hot surroundings. So that is possible only when the work is done on the working substance. So it is just the reverse of heat engine. Here some amount of heat is taken from the cold reservoir. Heat is taken from the cold reservoir. Q2 is the heat taken from the cold reservoir, and Q1 is the heat released to the hot surroundings. Hot reservoir is the surrounding, the room. If you consider there is a refrigerator, the room is the hot reservoir. So the heat is continuously pumped from within the refrigerator to the surroundings. So that becomes the hot reservoir. The cold reservoir is the space which is to be maintained at lower temperature, where we keep our food stuff. So continuously heat has to be pumped from there. So heat is taken Q2 at lower temperature and it is released to the surroundings at high temperature using a working substance. Working substance here is freons. Freons, Freons. Chlorofluorocarbons are present in this freons, isn't it? So these are the gases which will be, when released to the atmosphere, they will affect the ozone layer. Okay, and they will also cause the greenhouse effect, as you know about it, freon. Okay, chlorofluorocarbons. So the working substance takes the heat from cold reservoir releases the heat to the hot reservoir by doing work on the working substance. Unless work is done on the working substance, it cannot take the heat from cold reservoir to the hot reservoir. We all know that heat always flows from a body at higher temperature to a body at lower temperature. This is the reverse process. You need to take heat from the body at lower temperature and release it to the body at higher temperature, which is not at all possible according to law of nature, unless work is done on the working substance. So work is done on the working substance to pump the heat from space which is at lower temperature, take the heat from there Q2 and release that heat to the surrounding at higher temperature. So this process repeats, keeps on going on and on. As a result, the things which are kept inside the refrigerator will be always maintained at lower temperature. So refrigerator is a reverse of heat engine, where we can just write a sentence here. Here the working substance extracts. The working substance, freon gas. You can write freon gas, working substance. Extracts heat Q2 from cold reservoir, the space where the temperature is to be maintained at low value, cold space, heat from cold reservoir at temperature, at lower temperature T2, and some work is done. Some work is done on it W is done on it, which releases heat Q2 is released to the hot reservoir. Here also it is a completely a cycle. The cycle keeps on repeating. Okay, as it keeps on repeating, in every cycle some amount of heat Q2 is taken and some amount of heat Q1 is released by doing work on the working substance. Okay, so that is how the refrigerator functions. This is the schematic representation. So from this we can write the equation. Look at this. Q2 plus W is equal to Q1. Here you can see. Here from the diagram, mechanism of the working of refrigerator, Q2 plus W is equal to Q1. Okay. So from this we can now define, just like the efficiency how we are defined for the efficiency we are defined for heat engine, we are defining coefficient of performance. Here performance of a refrigerator is very important. Coefficient of performance we are going to define. Okay. So here W from this becomes W is equal to Q1 minus Q2. W becomes the work done Q1 minus Q2. So now we define what is coefficient of performance. Coefficient of performance is denoted by letter alpha, Greek letter alpha. So it is again defined as how much amount of heat is released to the hot reservoir divided by how much amount of work is done on the working substance. Here is heat released is the output and work is the input. So we define coefficient of performance as Q1 divided by amount of work done W. So it is the ratio of heat released to the hot reservoir divided by work done on the working substance. So this becomes coefficient of performance. Now look at this, Q1 divided by W, and Q1 will be always greater than W. From the mechanism we can observe the amount of heat that is released to the hot reservoir, to the hot surroundings, will be always greater than the amount of work that is done. So coefficient of performance will be always greater than 1, whereas the efficiency of a heat engine is always less than 1. If you remember, efficiency is always less than 1 for a heat engine. But for refrigerator, the coefficient of performance, as we have defined here, heat output to the amount of work done on the working substance will be always greater than 1. Alpha will be always greater than 1. But alpha will never be 100%. Alpha will never be 100%. Alpha will be more than 100% all the time. Alpha will be more than 100%. But alpha will never be infinity. Alpha can never be infinity. That is, coefficient of performance alpha can never be infinity. If you substitute this W, we get alpha equal to Q1 by W. W is Q1 minus Q2. W is equal to Q1 minus Q2. So this Q1 minus Q2 will be always less than Q1. Therefore, alpha is always greater than 1. It will be always more than 100% sure. Coefficient of performance will be more than 100%, but it will never be infinity. COP, coefficient of performance, COP alpha will never be infinite. This alpha can never be infinity. It will be infinity if work done on the working substance is 0. See here, from the equation, if work done is equal to 0, that is Q1 is equal to Q2. If same amount of heat, whatever it is released from here, whatever it is absorbed from here, if this Q2 is released as equal to Q1, then there is a possibility that the denominator will be 0 and the coefficient of performance will be infinity. It will never take place. If W is 0 or Q1 is equal to Q2, then mathematically alpha tends to become infinity. So first law of thermodynamics doesn't have any problem on this. First law of thermodynamics permits it. It is possible to have coefficient of performance of a refrigerator to have infinity coefficient of performance. But again, by the law of nature, that is what we are learning. Second law of thermodynamics, there is again a restriction. Coefficient of performance of a refrigerator will never be infinity, because without doing work on the working substance, you cannot pump the heat from the cold reservoir and supply it to the hot reservoir. That is the meaning. Without doing work on the working substance, you cannot pump the heat from cold sink to the hot reservoir. This is hot source, as I said earlier, and this is cold sink. So this is the meaning of COP can never be infinity. So without doing work on the working substance, it is not possible to extract heat from cold reservoir and supply heat at hot reservoir, which is against the law of nature. Okay, this is what we learn it as second law of thermodynamics. Let us just write the statement of second law of thermodynamics. Thus we conclude that there is no heat engine whose efficiency is 100%. Heat engine cannot be fully converting the heat into work. There is no heat engine in the nature which can convert the entire heat into work. Heat cannot be fully converted into work. Efficiency of heat engine will be always less than 100%. Similarly, there is no refrigerator which cannot work without any external working on the working substance. Without doing any external work on the working substance, you cannot have a refrigerator to have coefficient of performance to be infinite. The entire heat from the cold storage cannot be supplied to the external source unless some work is done on the working substance. That is the meaning of a refrigerator. Not possible to have coefficient of performance infinity. So refrigerator cannot work without some external work on the working substance, that is system. So these are the two important conclusions from these efficiency and coefficient of performance of the refrigerator. Now we will write the statement of second law of thermodynamics. So, first law of thermodynamics permits engine to possess 100% efficiency and refrigerator to have coefficient of performance to be infinity, but which is against the law of nature. Why is it so? That's what we are learning. Second law of thermodynamics. There are two statements. Kelvin-Planck statement. We will write the Kelvin-Planck statement. See, these are the two statements of second law of thermodynamics. The first statement was given by two scientists, Kelvin and Planck, which is about the heat engine. No process is possible in the nature whose sole result is complete absorption of heat from the reservoir and converting it completely into mechanical energy. No process is possible whose sole result is absorption of heat from a hot reservoir and complete conversion of this heat into work. Complete conversion of heat into work is not possible. That it says that there is no possibility of a heat engine to have 100% efficiency. Some amount of heat is always released to the surroundings. Some amount of heat is always released to the cold surroundings. That is the meaning of Kelvin-Planck statement regarding heat engine. Now second statement is regarding refrigerator. This is stated by another scientist called as Clausius. Clausius statement states about the refrigerator. No process is possible whose sole result is the transfer of heat energy from colder object to the hotter object. Law of nature. Always there is transfer of heat from a body at higher temperature to a body at lower temperature. Heat is always transferred from hot body to the cold body. Simple. So it is not possible to transfer the heat from cold body to the hot body. So no process is possible in the nature whose sole result is the transfer of heat from a colder object to the hotter object without doing any work on the working substance, without doing work on the system. So these are the two statements which will have a restriction of efficiency of heat engine to be less than 100%. That is Kelvin-Planck statement, and coefficient of performance can never be infinity. That is stated according to Clausius statement. Coefficient of performance of a refrigerator can never be infinity. Without doing any work on the working substance, it is not possible to transfer the heat from colder portion to the hotter portion. So these are the two statements of second law of thermodynamics. Okay. Tomorrow we will learn about reversible and irreversible thermodynamic processes. Thank you. Have a nice day.